So in this section, this is going to be continuing some of the work that we did in 7-1. And instead of trying to find counter examples to show something is not an identity, we're going to be trying to prove that something is an identity. So remember, to be an identity, it has to be true for all possible values of the variable. So before we get started doing that, we're going to go ahead and do a few examples where instead of simplifying to where we have an expression that comes down, we're going to simplify things to where I get a function on one side and a number on the other. So that's what this is saying right now. Find a single numerical value equal to one trig function of x. So if we take a look at a here, there's nothing I can factor out. I'm looking at, there's no squares, anything like that. So what I'm probably going to do is put this in terms of sines and cosines. And so I've got sine of x already. Oops. And then one of the things to remember is that cotangent of x is equal to the cosine of x over the sine of x. And so over here, this is going to be times cosine of x over the sine of x is equal to 1. Okay? And then I can take this sine of x and put it over 1. So because we're multiplying, we can cancel values. So something on the top can cancel with something on the bottom. And then if I multiply straight across, I have cosine of x across the top over 1 across the bottom. But anything over 1 is just the numerator. So we can say cosine of x is equal to 1. So we have one trig function of x equal to a numerical value. And so that is the final answer on that one. So if we take a look at B, pause the video for a moment and see if you can come up with one trig function of x equal to one numerical value. So hopefully you can see I want to get this 3 by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by cosine of x. So they cancel on this side. And then another thing to remember is the tangent of x is equal to the sine of x over the cosine of x. So that means up here we have the tangent of x is equal to 3. And now I have a single function in terms of x equal to a single number. So go ahead and give C a try. So one method is you could divide by cotangent of x. Another is you could divide by cosine of x. But I'm going to do the one that's the easiest to see on the board. So I'm going to say that I know that cotangent of x is cosine of x over sine of x. So I'm just going to replace that right now. So we've got cosine of x over sine of x on this side. And then to move that to the other side, I'm going to multiply both sides by its reciprocal. So again, this isn't the only way to do the problem. I'm just looking for the easiest way for the most people to understand it. So on this side, I am multiplying by sine of x over cosine of x. Okay. So here, sine of x cancels, cosine of x cancels. So on the right-hand side, we just have 1. And then on the left-hand side, if I put this over 1, the cosines cancel as well. And so we're just saying that the sine of x is equal to 1. All right, so now that we've gotten a little bit of warm up on how to deal with the functions again, we're going to dip into actually verifying that functions are identities or that equations are identities. So verifying trig identities is a 3-step process. And so the first step is we need to pick a side. So we're trying to prove that they're equal for all possible values of theta. So in order to do that, I can't be moving things to other sides or dividing both sides by anything, because when I do that, that is assuming that it's an equal sign. And we're trying to prove that it's an equal sign. So we need to pick a side and then simplify that side to then try to make it look like the other side. So if I can pick one side and show that it looks exactly like the other side, then I can say that I have a trig identity. All right, so I left those instructions up top just so that we can kind of check off what we're doing. So we're going to verify that each equation is an identity, which means, again, we got to pick a side and show that that side can be equal to the other side. So on this one, cosine's pretty much simplified already, so I'm going to leave that alone. So on the right-hand side, we're going to talk about cotangent of x over cosecant of x. And if I can get this to look like cosine of x, then I've done my job. So I pick the right-hand side. And so I'm going to move this over and say that cotangent of x times 1 over cosecant of x says exactly what this says. I'm kind of undoing this fraction. Okay? So we said that cotangent of x, let me use this space up here. So cotangent of x, we said, was equal to cosine of x over sine of x. So coming over here, we can say that this is cosine of x over the sine of x. And then we said if I have the reciprocal of cosecant of x, that is equal to the sine of x, that sine and cosecant are reciprocals of each other. So that means that this is equal to the sine of x, or I could call it the sine of x over 1. So now that I've done that, these sine of x's cancel, and that leaves me with just cosine of x, which means that I have done what I was asked. I picked a side, which was the right side. I simplified that side, which got it down to cosine of x. And then I showed that both sides are equal because cosine of x on the left is equal to cosine of x on the right. So taking a look at B, see what you can do with this. Personally, I think I am going to pick the right-hand side. I'm not sure, but just take a moment to look at that and see what you can do with it. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at the right-hand side because I feel like it has some common denominator things I can do, and then combining them, that kind of thing. So you always want to pick kind of the side that has the most stuff to do. And so looking at this one, we can say that secant of theta is the reciprocal of the cosine of theta. So that means this is 1 over cosine of theta. And then we've got, I'm going to leave a little space because I know what's coming up, minus cosine of theta over 1. Okay? So right now I'm trying to subtract two fractions, but I don't have a common denominator. So I need to find a common denominator. So my least common denominator between cosine and 1 is going to be cosine of theta. So that means this one already has 1. So I actually didn't need that space because I don't need to change it. And then this one, I'm going to multiply by cosine of theta over cosine of theta in order for this to have a common denominator. So remember, cosine of theta divided by cosine of theta is just 1. So when I clean this up, I have 1 over cosine theta minus, and then cosine of theta times cosine of theta is cosine of theta squared. And then my denominator, 1 times cosine theta, is cosine theta. Now, you might be tempted to try to cancel these, but remember, that's what we just built so that I could have common denominators. So now that my denominators are the same, we're going to subtract the numerators and keep our denominators the same. Whoops, cosine, not cotangent. Okay. So I haven't made it look like this left-hand side yet, so I'm going to continue. So anytime I see a 1 and I see a cosine squared of theta, I should be thinking about the Pythagorean identity. So the Pythagorean identity says that the sine squared of theta plus the cosine squared of theta is equal to 1. Okay, so I want to keep the 1 in the problem, and I want to keep the cosine squared in the problem, cosine squared theta. So I'm going to move that cosine squared theta over by subtracting it from both sides. Let's see, so when I do that, on the left-hand side, these cancel, and I have sine squared of theta. And on the right-hand side, I have positive 1 and minus cosine squared of theta. So hopefully you can see that what we got here is identical to what we have here. And so I can replace it with the sine of theta, or sine squared of theta. Okay, so we're getting closer. Now I want to think about this. So tangent, that is sine of theta over cosine theta. And right now I have sine squared of theta over cosine theta. So I'm going to split this up and say that this is sine of theta over 1 times sine of theta over cosine theta. So notice if I put them back together, I have sine squared of theta on the top and cosine theta on the bottom. But again, I've got my eye on this left-hand side. I want to make those identical. So my first number is the sine of theta. And then my second number, remember, sine of theta over cosine theta is equal to tangent of theta. So this fraction is just tangent of theta. So I got the left-hand side to look just like the right-hand side. So let's check our steps again. We picked the right-hand side, we simplified that side, and then we showed that both sides are equal for all values of theta, and therefore this is an identity. So we're going to continue this journey in part 2, and I'll see you in a moment.